And honestly, there's more than that. There's a lot of stuff when staff goes out and hangs banners, there's all sorts of stuff that happens that, again, my other city...
Staff is paid for hanging banners.
Who pays them?
EDC pays for it.
EDC pays for that now?
Yes, and always has.
EDC doesn't compensate. Whenever staff hangs something, they get paid the same way they normally do. EDC does not pay for that.
They give, the EDC pays for the rental of the equipment, that's it, not labor.
Yeah, so you get free labor, you get free labor, you get free labor. And now we're paying $10,000 towards Blythe to help Darren, and yeah, that's a good thing, but it's not the same thing as if it's a real corporation, you gotta pay somebody to run it, you gotta pay somebody to do the work on it.
I don't agree with that.
I mean, that's literally how a corporation runs unless it's volunteer. I mean, that is not something to agree with or not agree with. You gotta pay people to do the work, and so right now, we pay people to do the work. We have a sales tax that should fund us, and again, we're not on the cutting edge of this. We're 20 years behind on this, and somebody woke up and said, well, maybe we should look at this, and maybe we should try to be a partner, and instead what we got back is, no, we're not going to pay any of his salary. The city just needs to pay for that. And so, I mean, we've got a general fund that
It was presented that the EDC was gonna pay half their salary, and they don't do that.
They haven't done that.
Do what?
They haven't done that, but in my opinion, they should do that. Particularly given the 20 years of free city administrator and now city manager work that they get.
I disagree.
Well,
Look at the money we paid. If you guys remember, look at the money we paid that went down a hole with the 4 people that's been in the position.
Y'all get $96,000 to Pam Mundo.
And she did.
And she
made
didn't do
that
anything.
stuff.
Y'all didn't, I wasn't here when Pam did it.
Well, I wasn't on ABC, and I voted, you were on ABC, I believe, when I got on, weren't you?
Yeah.
Well, then you approved, I don't know, fine, that, maybe you weren't on EDC, so I take that back. But EDC approved $96,000.
I came on Patricia Ward, and I was hired.
Right. Then I'll acknowledge that. I was anti the Mundo thing, but that wasn't your fault, so I'm not blaming you for that. I'm not even blaming EDC for that. They tried something and it failed. That's the nature of it.
That's business.
But we know this isn't going to fail. I mean, we've given money to consultants, and we still should. If Petty or somebody brings something worthwhile, I'm not saying we stop doing that. But it is, to me, I mean, we've got a discussion about how much we're going to, we've been 2 and 3 police officers short for a year in a city, and I don't need to tell you about PD. You're obviously an expert on that. We've been 2 or 3 officers short for a year, and then we've got money over here that we can't touch. And then we've got some things that are eligible for the EDC to partner with as far as paying direct staff salaries that do EDC work, and EDC just says, no, we're not going to pay that. And so to me, whether they're a part of the city, whether they're an independent thing or not, that's not being a good partner. If you can help us shore something up, and in the end result, be able to get him 2 more officers, 3 more officers, get every other employee where they need to be. I don't know why we wind up having an EDC-shaped hole in this budget every year that just winds up growing while that stockpiles, and we don't get a lot of help out of EDC. Fine, $10,000 to go towards Blythe, but what does that do? Anyway, that's my soapbox.
How much does EDC have in their deal right now today? 600,000?
No, don't have that much.
It was 580 the other day.
Yeah, I think bank and tech school together, it's 580.
580. Okay.
And
we needed 100,000 for our budget, and we can't get it because of the way it's set up. It's not like we're robbing a bank from them, or we're stealing from them. They just need to change where, hey guys, you need to kick in a little. Because they asked us to get businesses to help pay taxes. Okay, businesses are obviously helping paying taxes because they got that big of a deal. And then we throw the TERS on top of it. So they got 2 boards that have a lot of similarities. We can't touch TERS. We signed a 30-year deal. That's dead. That's done. It's going to be what it's going to be. But we can do some things with EDC and help the city and keep EDC going too.
right, so to me, when we're looking at being $100,000 short, I mean, we can leave the tax rate right where it is, go ahead and be $100,000 short, and if EDC was willing, again, EDC's never paid a portion of that position or that position.
But
And if EDC jumps in, well, and even that's funny that you say that, because the parts board is that's just moving money around. And that city money doesn't generate other than but EDC's its own sales tax. And we could basically tell people, we're gonna meet the budget, we're gonna leave your tax rate right where it is, and all we need is for EDC to start paying its way as far as the city manager, a portion of the city manager and city secretary salaries, and we could not have this $100,000 sitting here. Instead, EDC's sitting on a reserve of what, EDC's in the black this year by how much?
$156,000.
that they're just sitting on, that they're not even planning on spending that money. We just need to sit on it to wait for the next thing that comes along.
We are planning, we have a budget to spend it.
But 156, you don't have a budget for. That's just how much you're in the black, that's just extra. You don't have a plan to spend that this year, that's just go in to sit there until next year or the year before, the year after, because it's not for everybody, anybody that's here that is not on. So everything else, basically, there's a budget. If the budget's not spent, the money goes back to the general fund. EDC, that doesn't happen. EDC, it has to stay in there, so it grows. If they budget for $156,000 in the black, they're gonna keep all that, and if they don't spend out of that entire budget this year, they're gonna keep growing and growing.
And that's not counting their textbook account.
Right. And so when it's all good, that's fine. But whenever we are consistently talking about how to, this man's about to have a heart attack over there because I said maybe we need to leave the known revenue rate and be 200 into reserves this year. And so whenever we're talking about this stuff over here, and then we've got EDC coming back and saying, well, we're going to have a budget that's going to be 150 in the black, and we're not even going to worry about how we could help the city out with that. To me, that's a bad partnership. And if we're going to look at EDC as a separate corporation, I mean, we wouldn't look at the city of Fort Worth and get the shaft like that. We're not going to look at a private business and get the shaft like that. And then we've got somebody that's all we're doing. We're not going to give this man time to run a private corporation and not have them contribute anything to it, for crying out loud. That's my second soapbox moment, I guess.
Who owns the two pieces of property, Marvin? Who's
They're in the city's name.
They're in the city's
They're
name.
in the city's name.
So to me then, any rent money we get from that strip center should go to the city.
And why don't you tell
They
me that?
set it up the way we did it. Betsy said it was okay to set it up that way, but because EDC had funded to buy that.
No, they borrowed to buy that. They borrowed from the city to buy that.
They borrowed from the general to buy
Yeah.
that, but they did pay the general.
They paid it back, I realize it.
And so,
If it's in our name,
and they've been doing that, and I can't argue and say you can't move it over to the general. I mean,
the thing is, we gotta get some money moving to the general. Not all of it, but some of it. And if we don't, we're gonna be right here every year, going to as high as we can tax everybody every year.
And
We don't get money going into general.
And I'll sit here right now, and I'm not going to say anybody's name because I wasn't here last night. So but when I wind up here and talk of different people sitting here and criticizing him, and I'm looking at you because you were here last night. I'm not accusing you of this.
Nobody criticized
I'm not
him.
accusing, but when people start.
Let me put that out there, because it didn't happen.
Okay.
Nobody criticized.
People criticize
The hardest man in this
with
world.
fluff, putting fluff in the budget. There's not fluff in this budget. Is there fluff in this budget?
I think there's money in here yet.
Find it, find it. Don't say I think it's here. You're part of this. You're part of this. You're not sitting out there throwing rocks. So if you think there's something you can find it. But there's not fluff. He stripped the fluff out of this 3 years ago and started a fire department on about 2 weeks' notice because of what he got given to him. And what I did, find it secondhand. But what I hear was said last night was things about, well, you just find places to put employees and this and that and this and that. Bottom line, he's not hiding stuff. He puts employees out of stormwater that he can justify out of that. He puts this on here because he could justify this. And ultimately, I'm sorry, that is criticizing him. That's basically saying that he doesn't know how to put a budget together. He's trying to hide something to get it by us. So that's how I feel about it.
You're entitled to your opinion, but there was no disrespect meant for either one of those. It was just a matter of whether the board wanted to eat half of their budget for salaries for two people that they've never done before since the inception of EDC.
We never paid for a full-time fire department until 3 years ago when we had to do it. The fact that we've never done it before doesn't mean that we don't do it.
That means it's.
Well, that's half of the budget if it's $580,000.
That's true, yeah.
I'm talking about what they own, when he told us we would have our budget, the money that we would bring in, it was almost half of what that was.